You made it. It is the video. In this video, we're going to be drafting our lawsuit. You've opted out of arbitration. You've pulled your credit report. You found the errors. You disputed and you got the results. You applied for credit. We know who we're suing. We know why we're suing them. And now you're ready to go. This is Consumer Protection Attorney Bill Clanton. Thousands of consumers deal with inaccurate credit reports, bad background checks, debt collection harassment, and all sorts of other consumer-related matters. Now, in this video, we're going to be drafting the lawsuit that you're going to file against the credit bureaus and or banks, debt collectors, other entities harming your reputation and causing you to be turned down for credit. A couple of notes before we get started drafting this lawsuit. If you're here and you haven't seen any of the videos, do yourself a favor. Please go and watch them, because if you haven't opted out of arbitration and you file this lawsuit, you're going to be pulled out of court and into the arbitration forms. If you file a lawsuit and you don't have an error on your credit report, then it's going to be completely frivolous, and this is a whole big waste of your time. If you haven't disputed this error on at least 1, 2, 3, or 4 or more occasions, then you really may not be able to prove that they were negligent or even willful in misreporting the information about you. If the dispute responses don't agree with your disputes, if the credit denials don't cite the error that you're referring to in your disputes, look, there's a lot going on here. And you need to go through all the steps and make sure that you have checked all the boxes and have a good understanding of what's happened, that you've tried to address this and tried to correct it before filing a lawsuit. So if you haven't watched those videos, please go back and watch them. I'll be here, this video will be here, and I'll be able to give you great advice on what the next steps are. I personally am admitted to practice law in the state courts of Texas and federal courts in Texas, New Mexico, Wisconsin, and the advice in this video is not personalized for you, it's just general advice, and it is based on my experience litigating these cases in Texas and the state and federal courts of Texas. The terms used in Texas may be different than where you are. I suggest that if you're going to file a lawsuit against the credit bureau or furnisher under the Fair Credit Reporting Act, you file the case in state court. State court is usually, in most cases and most places, state court is an easier place to file a lawsuit, handle a lawsuit. If you're going to be on your own or you don't have a lot of experience with this, state court may be a better place for you. If a credit bureau or bank or other furnisher wants to remove you to federal court, then they cannot argue your case should be dismissed for a lack of standing. Standing is a term used in the law that means that you have an actual injury. You have suffered an actual harm. There's been a lot of litigation on the concept of standing in the courts lately. And if a credit bureau or bank takes you to federal court, they cannot then argue that your case should be dismissed for lack of standing, because they're the ones who have invoked the federal court standing, and they can't then turn around and say, you don't have it. So filing in state court is a safer bet than filing in federal court for most folks, and especially for inexperienced folks. And if your case, if you expect them to argue about standing in the case. Okay, so since I don't practice in California or Florida or New Jersey or Alaska or any of the 49 other states in the state courts, the terms used by your courts and your local jurisdiction may be different. In fact, they probably are. Texas terms state court terms are different than federal court terms. A petition in Texas court, your petition is your lawsuit. Courts issue a citation. In federal courts and other states, some other states, these are called a complaint and a summons. So and then also in the styling, when we want to style the lawsuit that we draft, there may be some styling that's different. Some courts require your name and everything, address and contact information to be above the lawsuit. Some don't. You need to refer to your local rules your local jurisdiction, to find out how they want that lawsuit filed. Okay, so with all that said, let's get started drafting your lawsuit against the credit bureaus and or banks that are damaging your reputation, costing you credit opportunities, and costing you time and money. Okay, so here we are, starting a new document. Let's see. Okay, so here we are with a new document, and we want to insert, this is the way I like to do this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay. We can say consumer versus Equifax, Brand Union, and Evil Bank. Okay. We can put in our little separator symbols here. You do this by pushing the Alt and 21 key on your keyboard. We can center them. And in the number 1 by county by state. Now, if you're going to file this case in federal court, that would look differently. That would look different. But if we're going to file this in state court, you will file it in your small claims court or your precinct court or whatever they call the court in your area. Courts usually have like a title in the precinct court, small claims court, number, whatever. And then this should be the case numbers. That will be assigned by the court. If this were a case in federal court, you would put United States District Court or the blank district state, and then some of them have a division, the local division. And if that's the case, then this would look like case number blank, and then sometimes the judge's name would go here, judge of this case. This all comes down to your local court rules. Okay, and then to finish this, we would format this with table properties, and we would remove. There you go. This looks a little funny, so I'm going to put it like this. And there's your heading, your style of the case. Now this would be plaintiff's original petition, petition or slash complaint, whatever it's called in your area. And this would go in the middle. Okay. Now, you want to look at your local rules. Some states require a statement. For example, Texas requires a statement about the discovery level as the first numbered paragraph in a lawsuit. Discovery level 1. Plaintiff intends to conduct discovery on where level 2 per the Texas Rules of Civil Procedure. It's not required. If that is not required, then I suggest starting with the introduction. The Fair Credit Reporting Act was passed to ensure the functioning of the nation's banking system. The banking system depends on the accuracy of consumers' credit information. 10 accuracies. 10 the credit reporting system affect not only the efficiency of the banking system, but also consumers' trust in it. Now, I'm not just coming up with this stuff off the top of my head. This is at the beginning of the Fair Credit Reporting Act. So look there and come up with some introduction. Plaintiff, after discovering inaccuracies in their credit report, plaintiff disputed it multiple times. None of the credit bureaus corrected the errors, nor did the evil bank. As a result of these errors, plaintiff was denied credit. Okay. Plaintiff brings this case for defendant's failures and seeks actual damages, punitive damages, attorney fees, and costs, and all other relief available at law. Okay, so I'm going to go to our jurisdiction and venue. This court has jurisdiction of plaintiff's claims as they are within the court's limits. The venue in this county, in this court, as all or a significant portion of the events or omissions giving rise to plaintiff's claims occurred here. Okay, so our next section is the parties. Now, in our last video, we went over this pretty thoroughly, and so you should know the names and the addresses and everything else to fill this in. So Equifax information systems. I figured off the top of my head which was systems, which one's solutions, with Equifax or Experian. Okay, hang on. We say plaintiff, Pat Consumer, resides, is a consumer who resides in this county. Okay. Is Equifax Information Systems is a corporation whose mailing address is blank, and whose registered agent is blank. It may be served with process at the blank. Okay, then we'll go through this for Experian, TransUnion, and Evil Bank. Okay, so now we're going to look at the facts. Okay. So some people call this factual allegations. I just say facts. The facts are what happened. This you can take largely from your disputes. Your disputes should have a description of what happened. This will be on January 5th, 2023. Plaintiff learned they had been the victim of ID theft on January 15th, on or about January 15th, on or about January 15th, 2023. Plaintiff disputed the accounts that were opened by the identity theft. About February 15th, 2023, the credit bureaus responded and did not fix the errors. Plaintiff made a police report in temps. In a second dispute dated February 21st, 2023, plaintiff included the police report. Each about a month later, each credit bureau responded. None of them corrected or blocked the ID theft accounts. So on and so forth for each set of dispute responses. On or about March 30th, 2023, plaintiff applied for credit. Shortly after adverse action letters arrived, plaintiff had been turned down for credit. Each of the adverse action letters referenced the ID theft accounts. Okay. More disputes. Okay. More adverse action letters. You can put all that here. Okay. You want to put all the facts you've got in there. There's an error. There's a dispute. There's a dispute response that does not correct the error. There's a credit denial adverse action letter that mentions the identity theft or other errors in the credit report. Okay. So, causes of action. Fair Credit Reporting Act against Equifax. Equifax is a credit reporting agency. Equifax regularly engages in the compilation of credit data on consumers and sells it for a profit. Equifax received each of plaintiffs' disputes in response Equifax did not correct the errors referenced in plaintiffs' disputes. Equifax acted willfully in failing to correct plaintiff's credit report. Equifax acted negligently in failing to correct plaintiff's credit report. Okay. Fair credit reporting act against Experian, Experian, TransUnion, and Evil Bank. The statutes that apply here is going to be 1681 N and 1681 O. This is an S2. Wait, no, this is an I violation. 1681 I, and then the bank is going to be a 1681 S-2B violation. This is the statute they violated, and then 1681 N is a willfulness, and 1681 O is a negligent. Okay, so let's review what we've done here. We've got a discovery level. Okay, we've formatted our lawsuit. Like I said, it's best if it's in state court, so we'll make this more like a case number, more like a state court lawsuit. This is going to be okay, and the county court number blank in my county, my state. Okay, then we need to check the style. Some courts like this style, some courts do not like this style. Then the discovery level. Okay, here's one thing that makes these a lot easier to read, and that is double spacing it. There we go. Okay, plaintiff's original petition. Okay, and a good underline always helps separate this stuff. Okay, now if your state requires you to start with discovery level, start there. If not, start with the introduction, jurisdiction and venue, parties, facts, then get into the causes of action, and then it's a prayer, or you can call it relief sought. Plaintiff seeks an award of damages against each defendant for its violation of the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Specifically, plaintiff seeks awards an award of actual damages, punitive damages, attorney's fees and costs, and all other relief to which plaintiff is entitled. Then you'll need to sign it. Name, signature. You need to actually sign this signature. Name, address, city, state, zip code, phone number. Oops, this is not on the screen. Okay, phone number, email address. Okay, once you print this out, proofread it, once you complete it, right? Obviously, this is not complete. But once you complete this, then you'll print it out and you'll take it to your local court. Whether it's your county court, your precinct court, district court, whatever it's called in your jurisdiction, and you'll take it there and you'll file it. You'll have to pay a filing fee, and you'll ask that they issue a summons or citation or whatever the term is used in that court for each of the defendants. Now, the filing fee varies from state to state and jurisdiction to jurisdiction, how much it is. Some places it's more, some places it's less. There may be a fee for the issuance of the summons or the citation. It just depends on the court, so be prepared for that as well. And then you'll need to serve it. We'll talk about getting it served in our next video, but for now, you've got your lawsuit drafted. You're ready to proofread it and fine-tune it and go over it. Now, we just did this in a few minutes here. This is not fileable. This is a first draft, a sloppy copy. But working with this, reviewing the law, reviewing the Fair Credit Reporting Act, looking at these statutes, looking over your facts and tailoring these to what happened in your case, will get you a serviceable lawsuit. So there you have it. That's how you draft a lawsuit under the Fair Credit Reporting Act. All right, folks, thanks for watching how to draft your lawsuit. You're almost ready to file this thing. Like I said, what I presented is not a fileable lawsuit, but it's not far from it either. You need to tailor it to your factual situation. You need to make sure you've got all your addresses right, all your parties correct. And you need to figure out exactly how to do this in your jurisdiction. I'm happy to help as far as I can. If you have any specific questions, please put them in the comments below. I review them and answer questions in them regularly, all the time. I try to answer every question I can. And if you've got something else video, if I've earned your like, please like. If I've earned your subscription, please subscribe. I want to keep making these videos, keep educating you, and arming all the Davids out there against the Goliaths that are the banks and credit bureaus. Thanks for watching.